What's up, everyone? Welcome to Build Runs and Dragons. I'm your host, Bill Brown Bafflestone. So today we're having a battle report for my Double-Bladed DjinniLock build. This build that I released a few weeks ago has been my most popular build, a no-dip DjinniLock that specializes in the double-bladed scimitar, and I was recently invited to participate in a one-shot by Andrew Keiser, who, I greatly appreciate the invite. And he live streamed the game on his channel and on his Twitch. So super exciting opportunity to test drive this build and see how it performed in the field. And I'm very excited to describe it to you because, spoiler alert, we kicked some major butt. So very excited to go over this. It was done on the Talespire software, which will be linked to the description below. But man, I put a bunch of pictures of the interface up there because it was super amazing. It was like all 3D and you could rotate it around. And my character who was flying was actually like flying above everybody else, and shadows were being cast. And then I flew up to take like a bird's eye view, and man, super gorgeous. So I've sprinkled a ton of these pictures throughout this video. So to give you some setup, the Dungeon Master is Andrew Keiser, and he has a channel that is apparently about Power Rangers, a video game, but is branching out into D&D, so check that out. Then I had 3 colleagues. Well, actually, first let me talk about my character. I've put the character sheet that I was going into the game with on the screen. It was a level 10 one-shot. And based on some of the parameters, I made a couple of adjustments to the build. I subbed in Mislead for Seeming, and I subbed in Fiendish Vigor instead of Eldritch Smite, but otherwise basically the same character. And I also had a Rod of the Pact Keeper, so that really helped, obviously. That extra slot is really good for a Warlock that only gets 2 per short rest. So that was my character, the DjinniLock, and her name was Davria Lores. Then I had 3 colleagues. One was played by Eric, who runs a podcast called What If World, which is where he reads stories to kids. So it's a super awesome site, man. Check it out if you have kids, because kids love stories, and getting them to engage in that whole theater of the mind thing is good, right? I mean, in this day and age of just constant videos, exercising the mind is always a good thing. So check that out. And Eric was playing Vadislav, who was a really colorful character, a bugbear, who was a barbarian monk, and like a Russian accent, and was just like this Russian bear type of character. Very cool. Then there was Derek, who played Scald, who was a 10th level Tempest cleric. And Derek runs a site called How Not to DM. It's about pretty much what you expect from the title. So links for all of these guys are below, so check out his website. And yeah, he was playing a cleric. And then a late addition was Circos, who was a druid. Honestly, I'm not really sure what kind, because I wasn't even really expecting a 4th player, and then he showed up like once we had already started. So all I knew is that he was a druid. His name is Nash. He runs another channel, like the Power Rangers thing again. But has almost like 3,000 subs, so I guess people are into this Power Rangers Legacy game. I'm not a gamer myself, so that was the team. So yeah, again, me, Davria Lores, the 10th level DjinniLock, Skald, the 10th level cleric, Vadislav, the barbarian monk, and Circos, the druid. And so the setup was that we had arrived in this northern mountainous town, very cold, and we the 3 of us minus the druid, Circos, started together as a pre-existing party, and we had taken on this job of escorting a caravan to this spot, and we just finished up our job. So, we'd gotten paid, and we're having, a little bit of a celebration in the local tavern. And we are, wondering what we're going to do for our next job. And so we talk a little bit to the bartender, and we find out that, this area has been subjected to, a lot of raiding lately, and so traffic is down and business is down, and he heard that there was a reward for maybe putting an end to the raids. Talked to the mayor about it, and we were thinking, okay, that's like a pretty juicy lead. But as we're talking, we start to hear a commotion, and someone stumbles into the inn, gravely injured, and our cleric Skald runs up to him to drop a cure wounds, And, the guy's like, oh my God, kobolds are attacking. And we're like, oh goodness, time to, put on a good show for the mayor and maybe get this job. And so we had time to prep, it was like pre-buffing. So I popped my elemental gift right away, and then I hit the entire party with an invisible, just because I thought, all right, we're going to run out the door. Maybe there's people about to shoot us full of arrows, and if so, they should at least tax at disadvantage, right? And I also was feeling like I could blow all my slots in this battle because it was like, the end of the night, and I felt like after this battle, we're probably going to be able to long rest. And then Scald hit us all with a bless as well, so that's pretty cool. And then we went out, and it seems like kobolds were attacking the village, and we saw a bunch of them in the courtyard, about a half a dozen, just a few steps away. So we decided to engage. And again, really cool, this Talespire software. I've been putting up pictures, really super pretty, and made it very immersive. And so we flew out there, and I had my elemental gift already. And I actually won initiative, but I decided to hold and ready my action until the end because we were all invisible, and I figured that, I'm just going to be casting Shadow of Moil anyway, so not going to be making any attacks, so I may as well ready my action and do it last, and that way, the guys are invisible as long as possible. So I positioned myself and readied my action, and then the other guys engaged, and then, at the end of the round, I cast Shadow of Moil, or Aura of Whirlwind! And then I was at the top of the next turn or so, I started slicing and dicing. And I started just crushing kobolds left and right because I literally did not miss once on any attack throughout this entire session. I was attacking at advantage most of the time. In this first battle, I had Bless as well. And so I literally never missed. So yay, DjinniLock. And so, first I killed this goblin, and then I flew over here, and I killed this first I killed this kobold, and then I flew over here and killed another kobold, and then some priest kobold was dumb enough to get within range of me, so I killed him too, and in the meantime, my colleagues are killing kobolds, and we won that battle. And we were joined in the middle of it by Circos, the druid, who showed up as a horse, and I had no idea what's going on. It's a good horsey. And at the end of it, I tried to cast Mislead and follow them back to their hideout because the kobolds were performing a general retreat. So I cast Mislead and, just settled in on this little hay bale and sent my image, which was like moving at speed 70 and can cover like 8 miles in the 1 hour duration, flying after these guys, just following them, seeing where they, were headquartered and maybe get some intel if possible. But they went further than I could follow. The duration ran out, and they still hadn't gotten to where they were going yet. So we decided to, and then the mayor showed up, so we decided to go back into, the tavern and, get some intel and figure out, what was going on here. And he said that, hey, these kobolds have been conducting a lot more raids lately for some reason. And then they took this horn, which is very valuable to the town. And there was a bounty of 5,000 gold in it for us if we were willing to retrieve the horn and maybe try and put a stop to these raids, figure out what was going on. And we were like, hey, yeah, fine. We're adventurers. We're looking for our next job. This sounds great. And so we recovered one of the bodies, and Scald performed a Speak with Dead on the body. And we gained enough intel to suss out the fact that there was probably a white dragon who had showed up, and now these kobolds were, bringing tribute to it. And we asked the mayor, and he was like, yeah, there's a fortress like in that direction. I'm like, yeah, this direction, the direction that all these guys were going in. So yes, all of the pieces were coming together. So we decided to head out to the fortress the next day after a long rest, fully charged. And we encountered a little tunnel that was tiny enough for kobolds, but we could barely fit in it. And remember, one of us is a bugbear, big bear-like person. So I was, as a wood elf, barely able to squeeze through it. So we decided not to worry about that and just to go the long way, because the alternative was to climb these peaks. Again, this is in the north and very wintry and cold and snowy and difficult terrain and all that. And so we did it, and we ended up taking on an exhaustion level, which sucks because first level exhaustion means disadvantage on your ability checks. And that includes initiative rolls and grappling and, all that fun stuff. So we had exhaustion, and we came finally to the fortress, which was way up on an elevated cliff, and then we couldn't really see it because we're at the bottom of it. So my character, again, with this great spell selection that we had, cast another Mislead, sent our image up there to scout the place out, and we saw that there was like a main entrance in the front and like a bigger entrance in back, and there was like a rope and pulley kind of system that apparently was designed to allow people to come up to the top of the cliff. And so we went to, I went first through the back with my image just to scope it out, and it turns out I found like the dragon's lair right away. And so I was like, oh, better not let him see me. And apparently he was talking to a dwarf, another kobold or something. But then I came back around, and then I went through the front, and I saw this kind of like labyrinth kind of thing, and it seems like there's a bunch of kobolds and stuff up in here. So we probably shouldn't go through the front and, work our way through these kobolds. We should probably go all the way to the back and just directly to the BBEG. And it was, positive, well, how are we going to do that? And I was like, well, I'm just going to cast Fly on everybody. And we're just going to fly right up and not worry about the cliff. And then we're going to go fly through the back and fly through this giant tunnel. And we're going to attack the dragon. Yeah. And everybody's cool with that. So, yeah, of course. I mean, why not, right? We'll just skip right to the end. Nice to have that fly that I could cast at, with a fifth level pack slot and affect my 3 colleagues. And then I myself used Elemental Gift. So we were all able to fly up there. And as we were talking about tactics, one of my colleagues was like, can anybody enlarge me? And then I would really love to grapple the dragon. And nobody could do that, but I was like, well, if the druid cast polymorph on you, you could be a giant ape, and then you'd have 2 attacks with +9 athletics, and then you could really grapple the guy, and that would give you a buffer zone of like 157 hit points, and, that might be a good idea. And usually people are not so cool to be polymorph, but Vladislav was like really into it. He's like, yeah, let's do this. So that was kind of like the bones of a plan. And then I was going to roll out more, but then it was I was kind of reminded, oh wait, I'm playing an intelligence 8 character. And so even though she has a wisdom 12 and is, pretty savvy with the, combat thing, I was like, she's probably not capable of rolling out this, amazing tactical plan that would automatically assure victory like I was about to. So I was like, yeah, our plan is to kill it. So I decided to change my weapon from the double-bladed scimitar that was just crushing in the first kobold battle, because the dragon was in a cave. It wasn't going to be able to fly. There was just only a couple of entrances. One was the big entrance that he was coming through and that we were going to go through. Then the other one was into the fortress. And so I felt like I should switch my weapon to the longbow. Because we're 10th level adventurers, so we'd fought dragons before, so I knew they had blind sight. And so I was like, okay, I don't want to get too close to it because it's not going to be affected by Shadow of Moil, and that's kind of like my whole shtick. And then if I went with my backup, which is Spirit Shroud, I would be able to do more damage for a round or two, but then I was probably going to be taking all sorts of hits and stuff because I didn't have I wasn't being attacked at disadvantage, a 19 ACs, and this is a dragon, so, you got to figure 55, 60, 65% chance of hitting an AC 19. And so I didn't think that Spirit Shroud was a good approach. But based on the scenario where he could only follow me out in one direction, I thought Longbow was perfect. I could stay out of range of its blind sight. I could use Shadow of Moil to get my attacks at advantage. And I could be using my fly speed and, just the setup where I could determine the distance at the engagement. And then also the ability to retreat and then maybe cast Dimension Door, which would give me 500 feet of separation with a 600-foot range longbow versus a dragon that would probably be dashing at me with a high fly speed. But I would imagine probably 3-4 rounds of attacks on him anyway. I thought that was a good strategy. Plus the barbarian had shown that he was pretty durable with his bear totem. I should mention that he started with the Boots of the Winterlands, but gave it to Scal, the cleric, because that confers cold resistance. And he'd already gotten cold resistance because he had bear totem. So those two had cold resistance, which is obviously pretty nice when they're fighting a dragon. And so, yeah, we engaged, and it was a really beautiful, interface. The druid turned, or Circos turned Vladislav into a giant ape. It was awesome, and we were all fully bought into this idea of him going to grapple and push the ape. Now, I will say, I can't say that I was all in, because obviously it did occur to me that since I was going with longbow, if he actually succeeded in this tactic of, shoving and then grappling the dragon and keeping it down, that my attacks were going to be at disadvantage. But I decided still that was probably the best way to go because one, I wasn't super convinced that he would be able to pull this off. Even if he did, I didn't think it was going to be for more than a round or two. And even if I was shooting at someone with at disadvantage, I also had advantage because of Shadow of Moil, so it would have canceled out and my attacks would have been normal. And I think that would have been fine. So yeah, we engaged, and basically Vladislav in Giant 8 form was the point guy, and the Druid started out as a snow leopard and then turned into a giant vulture and then got really close. There was also a kobold there, by the way, and so the Druid and the kobold kind of mixed it up right away. And at one point, Conjure Animals was cast, and 8 yaks appeared, which pasted the kobold and actually did like a tiny bit of damage to the dragon. But those two were kind of like the point guys, and Scald was in the room. We started out talking, and that was cool. I always like to engage a little bit first. And we had a good bit of role playing, and then finally I was like, all right, time to kill. And of course I had been spreading out to make sure that I was out of range of its breath. And once the ape attacked, he breathed on everybody, and I was the only one that wasn't in the area of effect. And he ended up breathing like 3 or 4 times, which was, kind of lame. And we attacked. I, flew back and, started to attack him. And I got 2 criticals on my first 2 shots, as we see. And so, bam, bam, hit him for 48 points of damage to open up. Then he used a lair action to put a wall of ice in front of me. So I had to fly back. And I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to use this for cover. But the others were attacking him. And then I was going to use the wall for cover, but then it just disappeared when he used another lair action. And he was shredding people with lair actions and, claw bite and, wing buffets and all of that stuff. Always very cool, to see a dragon in action. Not something that I actually have done all that often in 5e, so this was a ton of fun. And came back once the wall of ice disappeared and shot again, and I hit another critical. So 3 criticals on my first 3 shots. So you go DjinniLock and hit him again, and he had to throw up another wall of ice, which I wasted a round attacking, and I broke through, but whatever, it disappeared anyway. So 2 of my rounds he was able to get rid of through a wall of ice, but otherwise I was shredding him, and I ended up doing 104 damage to him. And Vladislav was doing a lot of damage to him through reckless attack, and he stunning striked him twice, and Scald hit him with an upcast shatter that all 3 of those used up his legendary resistances. And so at the end, I totally made a mistake, and I'm embarrassed here. I had run out of slots, but I thought I had one left. So I tried to hit him with a banish because he had burned through his legendary resist, and I thought, oh, this would be so cool if I could give my guys a breather, because everybody was like going down and being brought back up by Scald, and going down and being brought back up by healing strikes, or healing flurry of blows, and then going down and then being brought back up by, right? So we were all like flirting with death. And so once we'd stripped his legendary resist away, I thought, oh, okay, a banishment to buy us all a breather might be cool. And like I said, I shouldn't have been able to do that because I should have been out of slots. And I probably should have attacked him anyway, because I wasn't actually keeping track of his hit points, because what point is it? I don't know how many hit points he's got. But I knew we were doing a lot of damage, so I probably should have attacked. And I hadn't missed all night, so I probably could have stacked another 30-ish damage on that, and that might have killed him, because he did die pretty quickly after that. But I tried banishment. It didn't work. I shouldn't have been able to cast it anyway. Yada, yada, yada. The Barbarian, Vladislav, got the killing blow, and, the good guys won. I then pulled everyone into my sanctuary vessel, so we got a 10-minute short rest, and I got all my slots back, and then we went out and cleared the kobolds, but we did all that on the side because it was getting late, and, once we killed the dragon, cleaning up a few kobolds, it ain't no thing. So that was how we performed. I mean, pretty amazing. We literally did not miss an attack all night long. We took 0 damage all night long. We were only subjected to 1 attack all night long, which missed. Our AC was 19 and attacked at disadvantage, so pretty good. And against the dragon, we did great. We blazed it down, did a bunch of damage, caused it to use some of its lair actions without harming the rest of the party, used superior tactics to circumvent the front of the building. I used mislead to scout it out, and then we flew everybody up there. And I was able to turn everybody invisible at the beginning, which, didn't help, but it might have. And then I, was able to scout out the kobolds retreating with mislead, which didn't help, but it might have. So I felt like we had a really strong impact on this session. I feel like the DjinniLock totally performed well. We were shredding, killing things left and right. I had a ton of fun actually playing this character. So yeah, check out the link below if you want to watch the entire 5-hour adventure and see me play this character in real time. I actually had a good time role-playing my concept, so you might enjoy seeing how I like to do that. And check out everybody's links below as well. It was really cool of Andrew to invite me, and really cool of Eric, Derek, and Nash to play with me. So thanks so much, guys, and thanks so much to everybody for watching. This has been Build Bronze and Dragons. I'm your host, Bill Brown Bafflestone. See you next time.